Welcome to Returning Staff Orientation for the 2015-2016 school year. At HCDE, we create value, provide opportunity, and deliver service. You should have received a copy of the 2015-2016 Employee Handbook. Electronic copies of this handbook are located on the HCDE portal under Human Resources. It is important that you complete the form located inside the front cover, acknowledging receipt of the handbook. And this year, we ask that you complete the bottom portion of the form as well, indicating that you attended Returning Staff Orientation or viewed the Returning Staff Orientation video. This form and other forms highlighted throughout this presentation must be returned to the Human Resources Division no later than August 31, 2015. Welcome to the new school year. New beginnings deliver much promise. Each August, we present information to you in a brief format to empower you to do your best. We explore changes in policy and remind you about safety and other important information that is vital to the organization. In addition to our superintendent, Mr. James Colbert, we also welcome two new board members, Mr. Michael Wolf and Mr. Don Sumners. Our goals and missions were also refreshed. Our new mission is Harris County Department of Education supports Harris County by enriching educational opportunities and providing value through services. Our new goals are to impact education by responding to the evolving needs of Harris County, deliver value to Harris County by utilizing resources in an ethical, transparent, and fiscally responsible manner, advocate for all learners by using innovative methods to maximize students' potential, provide cost savings to school districts by leveraging tax dollars, and recruit and maintain a high-quality professional staff. Both our missions and goals empower us to create value, provide opportunity, and deliver service. The 2015-2016 HCDE work calendar was approved by the board. See page 5 in the handbook for a copy. 2 bad weather makeup days were identified as March 25th and May 30th. Makeup days for staff may vary depending on the division and school district served. Please refer to your division's standard operating procedure for a copy of your campus or center calendar. The HCDE Board of Trustees is responsible for approving local board policies. Following a set of guidelines, all employees of HCDE are governed by policies A through G and should be familiar with their contents. Page 8 in the Employee Handbook outlines how to access HCDE's online policies. Some policy changes that occurred during the school year are highlighted here. Under Employee Requirements and Restrictions, Policy DBA Local Credentials and Records. This policy highlighted the importance of maintaining confidentiality of Social Security numbers. Policy DBAA Local Criminal History and Credit Reports. A section was added stating that HCDE shall disqualify from employment a person whose criminal history indicates that the person poses a threat to students or employees, and persons whose criminal history is otherwise inconsistent with the job duties of the person. Compensation and Benefits. Policy DEA Local Compensation Plan. This policy expands emergency pay policies, outlining how emergency administrative leave with pay is determined once the superintendent declares a state of emergency. Determining factors include consideration of the length of the emergency, health, safety, and welfare of employees, etc. It also applies to all employees or one or more categories of employees on a case-by-case basis. Should the superintendent declare it safe to return to work and end the state of emergency, employees are expected to return to work on the next scheduled workday. Personnel Management Relations. Policy DGBA Local. Employee Complaints Grievances. A statement was added allowing an employee's representative to participate in a complaint or grievance in person or by telephone conference call. Employee Standards of Conduct. Policy DH Local. Added guidelines as it relates to communicating with students in a department HCDE program. This policy states that, in accordance with the administrative guidelines, a certified or licensed employee or any other employee designated in writing by the superintendent, campus principal, or program director may use electronic media to communicate with students who attend an HCDE school or program about matters within the scope of the employee's professional responsibilities. All other employees are prohibited from using electronic media to communicate directly with students who currently attend an HCDE school or program. Assignment and schedules. Policy DK Exhibit is a new exhibit specifically addressing State Board for Educator Certification (SBEC) criteria, assigning public school personnel. This policy includes a chart listing appropriate credentials related to the rules in 19 Administrative Code, Chapter 231, for SBEC certified educators, paraprofessional, school administrators, and licensed professional support staff, including teachers, educational aides, principals, assistant principals, school counselors, nurses, occupational, physical, and speech therapists, and also social workers. Professional development. Policy DMA Legal, required staff development. This policy states that staff development for principals and educators, in accordance with Education Code 21.354, shall be predominantly campus-based, related to achieving campus performance objectives, and developed and approved by the campus-level committee. Adult education training requirements were removed from this section, as it has been addressed in Policy EHBI Legal. Finally, performance appraisals. Policy DNA Local summarizes general requirements, list of qualified appraisers, scores, and grievances as it relates to performance appraisals for teachers under the Professional Development and Appraisal System, PDAS. Should you have any questions about policies or procedures, consult with your supervisor or human resources. Many HCDE policies deal with safety. One policy, DH Local, clearly states that all employees shall adhere to department safety rules and regulations, and shall report unsafe conditions or practices to the appropriate supervisor. HCDE provides staff with carts, step stools, and step ladders to utilize, as appropriate, for the safety of employees. Please use them to prevent workplace injuries. Unfortunately, even with the best safety equipment and training, accidents and injuries occur. For work-related illnesses or injuries, employees are encouraged to file a claim for workers' compensation. The Employee First Report of Illness or Injury form is located on the portal under Human Resources and on the HCDE website under the Employee section of the web page. This form should be submitted to the Human Resources Division immediately, even if medical assistance is not needed. If you are unable to complete the form, the supervisor is responsible for submitting it timely. Please be sure to use the latest version of the form as plan guidelines change. Note that workers' compensation is not a leave status. Absences due to a workers' compensation illness or injury must meet an 8-day elimination period prior to being eligible for potential temporary income benefits. You may elect to use personal leave or vacation during this time. If no election is made on the claim form, time lost from work will be considered without pay. Should you seek medical attention, go to a local Concentra Medical Center and bring a copy of your job description and physician identification form, both located on the HCDE portal under Human Resources, to help expedite your claim. You are not eligible to return to work from a workers' compensation illness or injury without a release from a medical professional. If you are released to return to work with restrictions, then your supervisor will determine if accommodations are available for a safe return. If not, you may not be allowed to return. If your supervisor deems a safe return, then you are expected to report to work immediately. You will receive a bona fide offer of employment letter and modified job description listing your medical restrictions. The letter and job description are to be reviewed and signed by you, and a copy will be given to your supervisor immediately upon your return to work to ensure that you will work within the restricted guidelines. If you decline the offer to return to work, then you will be referred to the HCDE Benefits Coordinator. Here at HCDE, family and medical leave runs concurrent with workers' compensation and will continue, if applicable, during the course of your absence. For additional information, see Policy DEC and the Employee Handbook, or contact Human Resources. There are a number of measures in place to help keep us safe while we perform our duties. Did you know that HCDE has written guidelines and a vaccine prevention plan that complies with the Texas Department State of Health Services? In the Exposure Control Plan, commonly referred to as the Bloodborne Pathogens Manual, information about HCDE's Exposure Control Plan, designed to eliminate or minimize work-related exposure to bloodborne pathogens, are detailed. Also included in the manual are guidelines regarding training and ways to prevent exposure, and steps to be taken if exposed to bloodborne pathogens in the workplace. Paper copies of the manual are located in a central area at all locations. An electronic version is also located on the portal under Human Resources. What are bloodborne pathogens? Bloodborne pathogens are microorganisms present in human blood that may cause disease in humans, such as hepatitis B or hepatitis C, or the human immunodeficiency virus. How do you contract bloodborne pathogens? Bloodborne pathogens require an opening or pathway into the body, usually through a cut or opening in the skin. How do I prevent contracting bloodborne pathogens? Safe practices, housekeeping, and personal protective equipment offer protection. Proper hand washing is a front line of defense. Use soap and warm water to wash between your fingers, under your fingernails, and on the back of your hands. Apply lotion to keep your hands from drying out and cracking. Decontaminating surfaces, disposing of sharps properly, and avoiding agitating trash containing materials contaminated with blood or bodily fluids also provide a high level of protection. And finally, using personal protective equipment, such as gloves or aprons, presents an additional barrier. Proper glove removal begins with using fingers of one hand to grasp the opposite glove on the outside, below the top of the cuff. Strip the glove off while turning it inside out. Hold it in the gloved hand. With the other ungloved hand, place 2 fingers inside the glove at the top of the cuff. Strip the glove off, turning it inside out over the previously removed glove. Dispose of both gloves properly. Preventative measures include receiving the hepatitis B vaccine. This 3-series vaccine is offered free of charge to staff working in positions identified as being at a high risk of exposure. Don't put yourself at unnecessary risk. Use the equipment provided to you. Practice good housekeeping and report any and all incidents of potential exposure. If you feel you have been exposed, inform your supervisor and follow the procedures outlined for a workers' compensation claim. Remember, safety plans are only good if they are put into practice. There are other areas of risk. Visitors and non-employees entering our facilities could also pose safety risks. Every employee must wear his or her HCDE-issued identification badge. This badge is used to gain access to areas throughout our facilities, and it is also used by the time clock system. If you see an individual without a clearly visible badge, ask him or her to present it, or send the individual to the security officer or front desk. Contact the facilities division if you are unsure. Do not assume all is well by helping them move throughout the facility. Badges are issued to employees and board members only. If you lose your badge, report it immediately to Human Resources and request a replacement. Consultants and visitors are not issued badges and must be met at the central location and escorted to the proper destination. Technology is great, but it too can pose a risk to our safety, namely identity theft. HCDE's Technology Division continually monitors our computer system to stave off computer viruses and to keep the network running. All employees must acknowledge rules regarding technology usage by signing an acceptable use agreement. All equipment, including HCDE-provided computers and telephones, remain the property of HCDE and are subject to public scrutiny. As noted in policy and practice throughout the organization, information such as Social Security numbers are kept secure to help prevent identity theft. Training on identity theft prevention is provided to staff and is located in the Employee Handbook beginning on page 68. Measures of protection require that you never share log-on or password information. You should change your passwords routinely and/or in accordance with the Technology Division's requirements. Avoid the temptation of selecting passwords that are very easy to decipher. Paper documents containing confidential information should be shredded as per the state-approved records retention guidelines. Contact your division or the Records Management Division for the latest retention schedule. Other protections are provided through identity theft plans. If you personally become a victim of cyber theft, there are resources available to you. Visit the TexasAttorneyGeneral.gov website for useful information regarding protecting yourself, reporting identity theft, and obtaining a guide on how to recover from identity theft. Planning and protection for you and your family may include selecting and utilizing employee benefits offered through HCDE. Plan information may be accessed through benefitsolver.com. If you need to make address changes to any of your benefits, you may do so on the Benefits Solver website. Remember to take advantage of preventative care available to you at no cost under TRS Active Care. There are a number of wellness resources available to you through our benefit plans. The Employee Assistance Program, EAP, is available 24 hours per day, 7 days per week to all benefits-eligible employees and any family member living in their household. Call 800-343-3822. The Employee Assistance Program is a confidential program that provides easy access to counselors and professionals who can offer employees and their families support and counseling for personal or job-related issues. Areas of counseling and support are available for the following issues: marital, family, alcohol, drug abuse, emotional distress, stress management, financial management, and legal assistance. The program also offers legal and financial consultations for up to 30 minutes per issue or question, and a free online law library. It is never too late to plan for your financial protection. Employees working at HCDE are required to pay into the Teacher Retirement System, TRS, and into the Social Security System. These two retirement plans should form a foundation for your retirement, but not be your only source of retirement resources. Did you know that you may enroll in a 403B or 457 plan at HCDE at any time? Information about these plans is located on page 63 in the Employee Handbook. The Health Savings Account, HSA, is an added financial protection for employees enrolled in TRS Active Care 1 HD. Monitor each plan, keep beneficiary information current, and plan for your future. The HCDE website provides information about the programs and services HCDE offers. Visit the website to learn about upcoming events. For HCDE staff only, Human Resources offers professional development each year free of charge. Sign up for any or all HCDE internal trainings through selecting Workshop Registration, then selecting the HCDE Workshop Management System. You must log in by clicking on the menu bar, Find a Workshop, to access and register. A list of professional development trainings is forwarded to all employees via email prior to their posting date. Did you know you have the ability to access your email account from any location by visiting the employee section of the HCDE website at www.hcde-texas.org? Accessing the employee section of the website provides access to benefits and workers' compensation forms, medical center locations, and information while away from the facility. Be an active member of the HCDE community. Many forms of social media are available, such as Facebook and Twitter, allowing you to share the good news about HCDE with friends, family, and colleagues. We know that employees who enjoy working for an organization tend to tell their neighbors and friends. HCDE offers applicants who have been referred by our staff an opportunity to tell us about it. In turn, we reward the employee for the referral if the applicant is hired. The Employee Referral Program was developed so that staff could tell Human Resources about the referrals they make to our division. If the referred applicant is hired in a full-time position and is employed for at least 60 days, then the referring employee may request a small token for the referral. For additional information, visit the HCDE portal under Human Resources. Employee discounts for personal cell phone usage is offered by individual service providers. Eligibility forms are located on the HCDE portal. Through our academic partnerships, HCDE is able to offer employees opportunities to enroll in online higher education programs at discounted rates. And employees have an opportunity to purchase Microsoft Office desktop PC applications at a discounted rate through the Software Assurance Home Use Program. See the HCDE portal under Human Resources, Forms, or contact the Technology Division Help Desk for additional information. Working closely with one another can be a wonderful experience, but working together can at times cause conflicts. How we deal with conflict shows how strong we are as an organization. HCDE strives to establish and maintain a safe and positive work environment. Disruptive behaviors such as bullying, acts of aggression, and sexual harassment are not tolerated. You may be familiar with rules regarding bullying in the school setting, but did you know that bullying can also take place in the workplace setting?
Bullying doesn't just happen in schools, online, or the playground. It's more prevalent in the workplace than you may think. Nearly half of all Americans report they've been affected by workplace bullying.
Bullying, like in the school setting, takes the form of exhibiting power over others and is generally repetitive in nature. Although there are no specific federal laws preventing bullying in the workplace, Human Resources provides training to educate staff on the signs and behaviors of bullying and the techniques to empower staff to stave off bullies. Rarely does bullying happen in private. Overpowering, strong behavior creates an environment of fear and intimidation. Micromanaging is an example of bullying where a manager knows your capabilities but wants to control every aspect of your work and put their touch on it. Don't be confused between a supervisor exhibiting a tough love style, where they correct performance as it relates to a job. However, if attacks become personal, and if there is name-calling, threats, teasing, rumor spreading, taunting, ostracism, and other behaviors of a personal nature, then these are examples of bullying. What can you do if you believe you are a victim of bullying, or if you are aware of signs of someone being bullied? Talk to the bully and tell them politely that you don't appreciate being attacked personally and that you are willing to discuss your performance or the job at hand. Most bullies are unaware of how their behavior impacts others, and once made aware, may change their behavior and focus on the job and not the individual. Learn how to separate personal criticism from criticism on the job. Applying effective communication techniques may help diffuse critical behaviors. If bullying behavior continues, document. Document what was said and who was present when it was said. If the pattern continues, you will have specific instances which can be reported and dealt with. Seek assistance and report unruly behaviors to a supervisor or Human Resources. All situations will be investigated. Remember, if you're being bullied, don't assume you have done anything to deserve it. Find your voice. Take ownership. Bullying and harassment look alike, however, they are different.
I like to start with a definition always. Pamela Lutgen-Sandvik expands the definition of workplace bullying as follows. It is a persistent verbal and nonverbal aggression at work that includes personal attacks, social ostracism, and a multitude of other painful messages and hostile interactions. Now, in your opinion, what is the difference between workplace bullying and harassment? Sounds very similar.
Very much so. There are some distinct differences, though. Harassment, in most cases, is targeted towards individuals based on a category that they may represent. Women may be harassed primarily because of gender. People who speak with an accent may be harassed primarily because, again, of that distinction. However, when it comes to bullying, bullying can be for any number of reasons, but it's normally something the bully has found in the person they're picking on that makes them think either this person is smarter than, more attractive than, more popular than, and it's similar to some of the same reasons people are bullied in schools, only now it happens in the workplace.
Harassment is also offensive. It may be exhibited through derogatory language as it relates to someone's religious beliefs or practices, accent, skin color, or gender identity. It is behavior that attacks a person because of their race, color, gender, disability, national origin, religion, or age, which are protected classes as defined by the law. Examples of harassment may be threatening or intimidating conduct, name-calling, slurs, or other forms of aggression exhibited against another. Sexual harassment violates Title IX of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. It is unwelcomed sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, sexually motivated physical, verbal, or even nonverbal conduct, or other conduct or communication of a sexual nature. Examples include flirting, teasing, jokes, touching intimate body parts, or coercing or forcing a sexual act on another person. Both harassment and sexual harassment may cause you and everyone around you to feel uncomfortable. These behaviors are never tolerated in the workplace. No one chooses to come to work to be treated unfavorably or differently. We as an organization have an obligation and a mission to serve others. How can we serve our clients and the community well if we are dealing with issues such as these within the organization? Remember to report all harassment to Human Resources immediately, as these behaviors rarely cease without intervention. Also, always make sure that your messages are clear and they cannot be mistaken for forms of harassment. This helps maintain an environment that is professional. Children may also be victims of abuse. Sexual abuse of a child by an adult or another child involving any sexual act is clearly an exertion of power. Examples of sexual abuse of a child involve sexually coercing, forcing, or persuading a child into a sexual act, and/or exposing a child to pornography, exhibitionism, or communicating with a child in a sexual manner by the phone or internet. Sexual exploitation is any sexual activity involving a child for which something of value is given or promised, like money, food, gifts, protection, a place to sleep, access to higher grades, etc. By law, a child is never able to consent to a sexual act. What are the warning signs a child may be a victim? Each child is different, so the signs are different. Pay attention. Noticing changes in the children you know and work with should alert you to seek an explanation. Changes such as depression or anger, or even delinquency could be the result of abuse. Some statistics. Did you know that about 75% of child pornography victims are living at home when they are photographed, and that parents are often responsible? Did you know that foster children are 10 times more likely to be sexually abused than children living with both biological parents? Learn the signs. Physical signs are not the most common signs, but when physical signs are present, it could include bruising, bleeding, redness, and bumps around the mouth, genitals, or anus. Other physical signs may include urinary tract infections, abnormal discharge from sex organs, chronic stomach pain, or headaches from anxiety. The most common signs are emotional and behavioral, such as trying to be too perfect, or being withdrawn or fearful. Depression, unexplained anger, or rebellion are also possible signs. Some children experience nightmares, bedwetting, or falling grades. Some begin to be cruel to animals, are bullied, or are being bullied. Some set fires, run away, harm themselves, use drugs or alcohol at an early age, or use non-age appropriate sexual behavior and language. Some professionals relate such trauma to being the root of what we label as difficult or bad behavior, such as ADHD or oppositional behavior. Here are some techniques for reducing a child's risk of abuse or continued abuse. Establish a relationship of trust in which the child may be able to open up to you. Could you be that person a child runs to? Don't overreact. Show attention, compassion, and belief in the child. Children who disclose sexual abuse often tell a trusted adult, not necessarily a parent. Have a plan to be able to redirect adults who may be in a position to unknowingly cross the line of appropriateness. Eliminate or reduce isolated one-on-one situations, and screen those who care for children in youth-serving settings. Parents and guardians should monitor their child's internet, cell phone, and computer usage because these create unsafe one-on-one environments. Create situations where you or someone can just drop in. Never lock doors. Maintain areas where you can be observed by others. Stay within a group. Prevention training creates a culture of awareness. Know what is appropriate, such as side hugging, handshakes, pats on the back or shoulder, as well as praise and encouragement. Favoritism, frontal hugging, photographing individual children, and exchanging personal emails or phone numbers is inappropriate and prohibited. Act. Cases of abuse go unreported because many adults deny its existence or they fear getting involved. Most children who are victims never report the abuse. They may be afraid to tell because they've been threatened, shamed, confused about right-wrong, afraid of hurting their parents, are too young to understand, or told it's okay, or even that it's a game. Statistics show that 60% of children who are sexually abused are abused by people the family trusts. 30% are abused by family members. 50% are abused by older or more powerful children. And 90% of children who are victims of sexual abuse know their abuser. If you see marks or bruises on a child, report within 48 hours to allow a Child Protective Services caseworker to see the marks and investigate. It is your legal and professional responsibility to report suspected abuse or neglect. Call 911 if the situation warrants it to protect a child. For non-emergency situations, submit your concerns to the TexasAbuseHotline.org website. If you discover or suspect sexual exploitation of a child or child pornography, then you must call the police or cyber tip line at 1-800-THE-LOST or file a report online at www.missingkids.com/cyber-tip-line. Child pornography is child sexual abuse. It is illegal in any form. This information is located in the handbook beginning on page 32. Cell phones have become an essential part of our daily lives, and they are being used for more than making phone calls. There is an array of recording capabilities that are being used, such as Snapchat. Children take compromising pictures of themselves or others and share them with their friends or post them for the world to see. Bullying, harassment, and pornography are often the result of such internet sharing and other web-based social networking applications. Safety is an issue as it relates to cell phone use while driving. Employees whose job responsibilities include driving and who must use a cell phone for business use are expected to refrain from using their cell phone while driving. Safety must come before all other concerns, regardless of the circumstances, including slow or stop traffic. Employees are strongly encouraged to pull to the side of the road and safely stop the vehicle before placing or accepting a call. Drivers are expected to comply with state laws regarding cell phone use while driving. Drivers are not allowed to use a cell phone while driving in a school zone, and all drivers are banned from texting in school crossing zones. Under no circumstances are employees allowed to place themselves at risk to fulfill business needs. Employees charged with traffic violations resulting from the use of their cell phone while driving will be solely responsible for all liabilities that result from such actions. Rules regarding safe driving are located on page 47 of the Employee Handbook. All drivers benefit from annual safety training.
About 100 people die every day in motor vehicle crashes, and every day more than 1,000 suffer life-changing injuries. Motor vehicle crashes are also the leading cause of workplace fatalities. NSC believes that 25% of all motor vehicle crashes, or 1.3 million crashes per year, can be attributed to drivers using phones. Research shows that drivers experience cognitive distraction, driving performance problems, and increased crash risk when using a cell phone, regardless of whether it's handheld or hands-free. Epidemiological studies conducted in Australia and Canada found driving using handheld and hands-free phones resulted in a 4-fold increased risk of property damage and injury. Experimental studies have identified 2 major reductions in driver abilities when talking on cell phones: inattention blindness, looking but not truly seeing objects in the roadway, and slower response and reaction time. Several studies recently found that voice-to-text systems on mobile phones and in vehicle dashboards are even more distracting to drivers than talking on phones. As new communication technologies develop rapidly, NSC encourages and evaluates continuing research to gain a better understanding of driver distraction and driver behaviors. Experience has shown that traffic safety solutions that successfully change driver behavior and reduce crashes must include a combination of education, effective laws, high visibility enforcement, and technology. NSC participates in all these strategies. In 2009, NSC was the first national organization to call for a total ban on cell phone use while driving, whether handheld or hands-free, and since that time has presented to thousands of employers on the importance of cell phone policies. NSC created a free cell phone policy kit to help organizations of any size implement a total cell phone ban to keep their workforce safe, protect property, and reduce liability. NSC works with mass media to remind the public of the increased crash risk electronic communication devices pose for drivers. NSC also believes technology may hold the potential to eliminate this problem and works to encourage deploying technologies that prevent incoming and outgoing calls and texts and other distractions from engaging a driver while driving.
Multitasking. Is it fact or is it fiction? People can obviously walk and chew gum at the same time. But these are both non-thinking tasks. Thinking tasks include texting, reading, gaming, driving, listening, and speaking. You can't do 2 thinking tasks well at the same time. You'll do 2 things poorly or 1 thing well. So when you're driving, your brain looks like this. When you drive and talk on the phone, even if it is a hands-free device, your brain looks like this, which means your car could look like this. So stay off the phone while you drive, and remember, hands-free is not risk-free. So hang up and drive well.
HCDE and its staff are responsible for keeping our workplace safe. We maintain and follow the requirements of a drug-free workplace as per Board Policy DH Local. A copy of this policy is printed in the handbook on page 55 and is posted at every worksite location. Restated here, HCDE prohibits the unlawful manufacture, distribution, dispensation, possession, or use of controlled substances, illegal drugs, inhalants, and alcohol in the workplace, on school premises, or as part of any of the department's activities. Employees who violate this prohibition shall be subject to disciplinary sanctions. These sanctions may include referral to drug and alcohol counseling or rehabilitation programs or employee assistance programs, termination from employment from the department, and referral to appropriate law enforcement officials for prosecution. Compliance is mandatory, and it is a condition of employment. Employees who drive HCDE-owned or leased vehicles have additional safety requirements. They must comply with HCDE's alcohol and drug testing requirement and submit a driver's motor vehicle records check annually. Before we go, there are optional forms that are collected this time of year. HCDE employees have an opportunity to donate $7 to the Flower Fund. Donations are voluntary, and are used by the organization to send flowers in cases of hospitalization and/or funerals as described on page 97. If you are interested, complete this form and return it to Human Resources. Catastrophic sick leave is another optional plan, as discussed on page 91. Employees who are already members of the catastrophic sick leave pool may contribute 1, 2, or 3 days of personal leave to maintain their membership. Staff wishing to join this pool must submit 3 personal leave days when they initially join. The catastrophic sick leave plan consists of a pool of donated days that other members of the pool may utilize when experiencing a catastrophic illness injury, providing paid time off when they have exhausted their leave banks. Additional information is provided in Board Policy DEC Local and on page 17 in the Employee Handbook. If you are interested, complete this form and return it to Human Resources. The HCDE Annual Giving Fund is available for staff to donate money to any of these programs listed on the form, located on page 107 of the Employee Handbook. This is a post-tax contribution, and since HCDE is a political subdivision of the state, donations are tax-deductible to the fullest extent allowed by the IRS law for charitable organizations. If you are interested, complete this form and return it to Human Resources. Finally, the Request for Outside Employment form, located on page 103, should be submitted to your supervisor if you hold employment in addition to working at HCDE. This form is required every year and is maintained in the employee's personnel file. Mandatory requirements. Please submit the form located inside the front cover of the handbook, acknowledging both receipt of the handbook and attendance at the orientation, by signing and dating the form in both places. This form must be submitted to Human Resources. A current signed job description for each employee is required this year. If you have not reviewed and signed a current job description, then please see your supervisor. If you drive an HCDE-owned or leased vehicle, then the 2 mandatory forms must be submitted to Human Resources. The Requirements or Procedures form and the Texas Department of Transportation form are located on the portal under Human Resources. This is the end of the returning staff orientation, but the beginning of a new year. We hope this review of expectations and updates was helpful. Contact Human Resources at any time. We are here to serve you. We wish you a very successful school year. And remember, at HCDE, we create value, provide opportunity, and deliver service.